in renewable energy. How big is the opportunity?
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Tanya Aneja and the focus is yet again on Adani Group stocks. So shares of Adani Enterprises recovered in early trade today post last week's brutal sell-off. Adani Port also the stock was up to the tune of 5% today. But other Adani Group stocks, if you see, including Adani Total Gas, Adani Transmission, Adani Power, Adani Wilmar, Adani Green extended their sell-off and falling up to 16% and 20% as well. So Adani Group stocks have actually corrected sharply following a report by Hindenburg Research, and the Adani Group also has issued a response and has accused Hindenburg Research of not doing proper research and copy pasting from the company disclosures. In an over 400-page response, the group led by Gautam Adani called all the allegations misleading. And the question now is that what's next for all these Adani stocks and what should investors really do? So to discuss this and much more, let's welcome our guest on the show today. We have with us Mr. Devin Choksi. He's the MD at Care Choksi Holdings Private Limited. Thank you so much, Mr. Choksi, for taking the time out and joining us here on Business Today Television.
Thank you, Tanya, for inviting me to the show.
Yeah. So, first of all, how do you see this response and what should investors really do, especially at this point in time?
Yeah, so I think it's a very important point. I think what should investor do? Frankly, investors look at investment from the long-term perspective. Right. They are not traders, and I think they don't probably want to participate into the trading activity. However, I think the big pool of market is consisting of traders, and I think they actually want to make their best out of the trading whenever the opportunity arises. Nothing wrong with it per se. But the fact is that one must understand that the investors look at the long-term prospects in any business. Take a case in point of Adani, where the group companies are involved into different assets, infrastructure assets, be it port, be it transmission, be it green power, be it solar energy, or for that matter port and renewable energy and so on and so forth. In my viewpoint, I think these infrastructure assets, when they start generating cash, that is the time when you are basically seeing the visibility of sustained earnings over the next 15 to 25 to 30 years. And that's what the typical characteristics of infrastructure asset is. So long-term investors like insurance companies, pension companies, endowment funds, sovereign funds, infrastructure funds, who typically invest for 20, 30 years, they definitely look at the cash flow positions of the company when they make the investment. And it is this case, which is very, very strong as far as the Adani Group stocks concerned. I think most of the infrastructure assets are already now generating cash and they are sustaining that growth over a period of time in a systematic manner. So in my viewpoint, I think the long-term investment view is not affected. The picture remains absolutely promising, if not better. And in such situation, when the market technicalities are basically suggesting negativity, in my viewpoint, some long-term investors would find this as an opportunity to buy these investment stocks into the portfolio at the corrected prices.
Okay, absolutely. And also, Mr. Choksi, the Adani Group CFO, Mr. Singh, said that he's confident about the FPO and the FPO will sail through, and his group is actually not looking to make any changes with respect to either price band or offer period. And also, institutional and long-term strategic investors will be key subscribers to this issue. So if you see, Adani Enterprises stock is now trading at a discount to the FPO price, and hence it's actually illogical to subscribe to this FPO, as you can buy it directly from the market at a much lower price. And the only way to make the FPO look attractive is to get the secondary market price higher than the FPO price. So what are your thoughts?
So first point, suppose if the investor wants to buy from the open market, Absolutely, Paul, right? I think to buy it from the open market, provided you get the value of shares which you are asking for at this current fall in the price. In my viewpoint, I think given the kind of large appetite that the institution investors would have, and I always believe infrastructure investment is more from for the institution investors. Those investors definitely, I think, would like to buy something which is available to them in this kind of a primary issue, which is FPO at this point of time. Because over there, I think your quantity is fulfilled. At the same time, I think you're buying for a longer period of time. So certainly nothing wrong with, I think, buying at a lower price. I'm not saying it should not be done, provided it is available. So I think that option remains open. At this point of time, given the kind of liquidity and the float that we have in the market, I'm not completely sure whether I think one would get 20,000 crore worth of investment from Adani Enterprises stock, I think, at a discounted price. So I think that will be a try that an investor can make in the market, I guess.
Okay, absolutely. And if you look at LIC as well, so LIC is one such domestic institution investor which has huge shareholding in Adani Group stocks. And in the previous two sessions, LIC has lost more than 16,000 crore rupees. So what are your thoughts on LIC stock?
I believe LIC in 2020, when they bought Adani Enterprises stock at 350, at that point of time, I think probably they were more convinced, and that is how they bought it. Suppose if forget about Friday's fall in the current market price, even at current market price also, I think they are probably making, I think, how many number of times gain, I think that one can calculate. But from 350 to 4,000 journey, and maybe 2,800 now, whatever. So I guess I think they are still not lost any money, according to me. And that is where probably I think this institution example should be taken from investment point of view. They are the ones I think who take the investment from the long term point of view, and they invest when they are convinced. So obviously, I think if they were convinced at 350, and if they are convinced, I think at today, I'm sure I think you can probably count how exactly the future is looking like for this particular investment. I am particularly remaining more confident because, as I said, that when infrastructure assets start generating cash, it is the time that I think you buy those assets because there you get the clarity for next 20 to 30 years for your investment. And that's what typically the insurance companies are asking for. So I think quite a substantial gain that they've made. Maybe I think the current fall in the market could possibly recover, and I think they can get restored that particular gain in due course of time.
Okay, and what about ACC and Ambuja Cements?
Again, I think the Ambuja Cement per se is a cash holding company, I believe. And I think the company remains absolutely fundamentally very strong. ACC Ambuja combined is basically the second largest capacity that you have in the cement in the country. And given the kind of logistic ability that Adani Group has got, I think between the west side and the eastern ports that they have got, according to me, the transportation of cement and the cost thereon, I think, will significantly, I think, get reduced because of this ability that they have. On one side, you have got the mining rights, wherein I think you are mining the limestone. Other side, I think you are participating in infrastructure story, where you are selling cement. So, from the business perspective, both are cash generating assets, significantly large assets, have potential to grow further big from the current level. And I believe that I think investment in these particular assets, whichever way you look at it, I think remains I think strong proposition, given the kind of infrastructure growth that the country is having. We must remember one thing that India is going to spend 110 lakh crores on infrastructure in 10 years' time, of which 7.5 lakh crore last year budget has provided. This year budget, I think, could possibly be well above that sum. So from that point of view too, I would believe that I think anything which is connected to infrastructure, and if it is well funded and I think well disciplined as far as I think execution is concerned, I think that the investors will make money out of it over a longer period of time.
Okay, absolutely. And just one last question, Mr. Choksi. So, which Adani Group stocks do you think are now available at reasonable valuations? And do you think that now is the right time to buy the stock, especially after this huge correction that we have seen?
See, I cannot talk about the technical angle of the market. I think whether the timing is right or not. As far as
Okay.
investment is concerned, investment remains absolutely convincing. Be it
Okay.
port, be it transmission, I guess I think this investment remains absolutely convincing because both these assets are generating significantly large amount of cash. And according to me, I think this cash is only going to compound over a period of time, given the size of operations that they've created in both these assets. So we remain confident about investment in this infrastructure assets.
Okay, absolutely. So that's the word coming in from Mr. Choksi. And on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Mr. Choksi, for taking the time out and being with us here on Business Today Television. Thank you so much. Okay, now with that, let's get back to the markets. And if you see the levels, Sensex almost 118 points down at this point in time at 59,211 levels, and Nifty also trading lower in today's trading session. 55 points gone on Nifty as well, 17,548 levels that we are seeing. And the focus is, of course, on the Adani Group stocks. And if you see some other stocks which are buzzing in trade today, we have Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Twins actually, up to the tune of 2 to 4%. Sun Pharma and TPC among the other gainers. And on the flip side, we have Power Grid, IndusInd Bank, HUL, Tata Steel, Titan, all down to the tune of 1 to 3% in today's trading session. And we also have our eyes on the budget 2023. Budget is upon us, and of course we'll get you all the latest updates. But with that, let's wrap up this edition, and many thanks for tuning in.